running the roller harrow and the drag harrows. Roller harrow in the front, drag harrows in the back. We're pretty much going over this field because we have a bunch of gopher mounds out in the field that makes it bumpy, and it also puts more dirt through the swather than what is needed, and it wears the swather out. You might be saying to yourself, well, it's hurting the hay. It does hurt the hay a little bit, but we find it profitable and smart to go over it so we don't damage our swather as much in the peak of the season. We can get about 5 to 7 years out of our alfalfa stand, and we don't really try to push it because the longer you leave it in there, the less productive the alfalfa plant is. So we don't find it necessary to try to make the stand last longer than what it can do. So we are right now running the harrow on the 7410 with our GPS. Fun stuff. So it's a little windy outside, but we need to still keep working. This right here, this is the disc ripper. It has discs on the front and in the rear, and then there's supposed to be shanks or rippers that come down. We took them off last year because we used this as just a rough disc, a really aggressive disc. We have the shanks right there. We're gonna put them back on today because we need to use it as a disc ripper this year. So that's what we are up to today. Got all the big bolts that are holding it on. We have the shear bolt right there. Makes it so if it hits something extremely hard, it just, wrong one. It just rocks back and breaks the bolt instead of breaking all of that, which is lots more expensive than one single bolt. We got the bolt. We need to go to the store and buy the bolt and the nut. So that's what we're off to now. So we have it all the way fixed. Now we're gonna go use it, hopefully use it. We're not sure how wet the ground is over there, but if it's dry enough, we're going to go. The reason that we don't use tillage equipment when it's wet, first off, you can get stuck easier if you're in heavier soils. In Nebraska where we live, we don't have really heavy soils, so the reason we don't do it is the compaction that it makes. It puts a lot of compaction where the tires are if it's more wet, and that is why we don't do it. But we are going to go use this on a piece that is not ours, but we might be renting it this year. My dad's putting together a budget today for that, and we're gonna see if we can justify getting another piece of ground. But the people that own the land, they want us to go and till it, because tilling it will actually make it blow, and the wind erosion, soil erosion, will be less if the ground is more rough. And this thing is known for making the ground rough. So we're gonna go till up one of the spots that is open and flat. So that is what we're going to do today. We're here in the Steiger pulling a disc ripper, if you were wondering what that was, if you didn't pay attention before. I think it's a little moist. This part of the field's a little different, I think. I don't think it's too moist. It's actually doing pretty good. So my dad came and picked me up. I need to go get the GPS. We are going to be running. I found a spot in the field that's not wet. And I also need a vehicle over there, so when it's time to go back home, I don't have to drive that back or have somebody come pick me up. So we're gonna head back and grab the things we need, and then I will be back over there tilling. So we are disc gripping, and as you can see, we're only doing every other pass. That's to also help with this soil erosion, which is why we're doing this. So pretty much this helps it so none of the soil moves, because it's disturbing the top, and it fluffs it up some too right here, right where I'm disking, right there. So that makes it so the wind comes across and it actually lifts the air up enough that it doesn't blow away the stuff that I have not done. So this is pretty much all to make it so the soil doesn't blow away, and so we can keep the good nutrients in the soil. Fun stuff. So we are getting ready to plant some alfalfa. We ended up getting this new property. It's a full another section, which is like 180 acres, I think. Might be wrong, might be 160. I'm pretty sure it's 180 though. And the people that ran it before us, they put corn in one half of it and sugar beets in the other half. The sugar beets is easy to go after, you can just till it. When you have to do tillage on the corn, the stalks give you an issue. They drag with the tillage equipment. They provide a big hassle. And also, to make it even worse, this person uses 22-inch rows instead of 30-inch rows. That just means that the spacing in between each row of corn is 22. Most people use 33. These people used it because that's what you plant your sugar beets in. So they just didn't want to have to buy two planters, so they just used the corn, or they planted the corn with the soy, or the, not soybean, sugar beet planter. They're the same thing, so it worked. And most of the time we can just use a stalk chopper, which is just it's like pretty much tillage equipment. It takes and just cuts it up. It has like a bar that rotates that has sharp edges, and you drive across and it just rolls with the ground and cuts the stalks up. Or for us, because they don't make it, we can't find a 22-inch stalk chopper or whatever you want to call those, we have to use a flail shredder. We've been messing with a flail shredder for a long time. We used to have one that is called a Brady. It was a 20-footer. It was just a mess. We've had it for so many years. My grandpa had it for so many years. It's been beat up and abused. We only used it every once in a while, so it wasn't like one of those things that we really cared a whole lot about to keep it good. So it wasn't very good, and it really reflected it when we tried using it this last time. It stopped working for us. There was way too many things we've thrown at it this time, and we're just like, we're cutting our losses. And we went and got a 15-foot JohnDeere 27. We've heard that this is a extremely nice and popular flail shredder, and it seems to be doing an amazing job compared to our last one. So what it is doing, it has like a rotor in the inside, and it has little fingers or bars or chains or whatever you want to call them that are on the outside of this rotor, and it just spins really fast, and it acts kind of like a mower, and it just shreds it up. As you can see, it's shredding all of the stalks. We're using the GPS because I don't want to have to steer, so I can do stuff like this, like talk to you guys. And then we're going to come by with the disc gripper, and we're going to disc grip all of this field up, and then we're going to get like a mulch finisher or something equivalent to that to smooth it back out. And then we're planting alfalfa on 2/3 of the pivot, and we are going to be tilling up the other third and we have not fully decided. It is much wetter and a moister soil than the rest of it, so we're gonna have to manage that a little differently. We're not sure what we're gonna put in it, but we will probably be putting millet in it later this summer. If we're lucky, we might put some oats in it early, but it's pretty unlikely that we'll be able to get into the field that early. So this is what we are doing today. 15-foot John Deere 27 view. And in that way, you might be able to see like why we're doing this. As you can see, if we come down here, this is just shredded to pieces. This might be the biggest piece that you'll find. And that's pretty much what it is all the way down to the ground. So they're pretty small, chopped up, so that way we can flip it over and actually bury it. And then here is the stuff that has not been done. And you can tell that there's stuff that's still attached to the ground. Really big pieces. Most of the time this stuff will get caught in the tillage equipment and just drag, which makes an uneven field, and we want an even field. And we just need to make sure that the thing is going low enough and that it is dry enough to be doing the job that we want it to be doing, and it looks pretty good. We're going to continue on that. It's very unlevel, so it's gonna be hard to see with the camera unless I get down. Maybe it looks pretty level. It could be moved another turn, so we're gonna move it because I think, yeah, very hard to see for you guys, but it's a little easier for me. There's a little bit of a hump on the outside, so that means the front needs to be lifted up a little. So we need to adjust the pitch of this thing, which is the back down or the back up or the front down and the front up. So we were filling in pivot tracks with it last. That's why the rippers were off, and it made it so there was a big old like dike in the middle, center in the back, because the back's pushing it together and the front's pulling it apart. So to make it more level, because that's what we're going for, they have this adjusting right here. You pull this up. It's gonna be a little hard with one hand, but you can do it. And then I need to go a little bit this way. And we just spin this thing till they line up again on top, which is about right there. Then you slide that back in place, and it's ready to go again. And that should be the last time I do that. I've done that twice now. It just takes a little bit of time to get it right. And you see those little passes right here. Hey everyone, so it's time for dinner, so I have to quit. But I started on the opposite end of the field than where I parked the truck. So guess what I get to do? I get to walk myself all the way across the field. It's like a good half mile in boots in rough ground. One of those other luxuries of being a farmer, they say. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit about how we get ready to plant our alfalfa and the long process. This is just the first phase of that. It is extremely sensitive to the natural environment. This has to be perfect. This is just getting it rough and getting ready for the other equipment that we need to put in the field. Other than that, I hope you learned a lot about how agriculture works, and especially how our farm works. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I'd love to see you guys next time. Bye.